This is BNN.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am Black, James Black, and this is BNN, Black News Network. Today, I interview Mr. Nathan R. Fessler, the CEO of Universal Megabank. Mr. Fessler, thank you for coming to BNN.
You're welcome.
Well, Mr. Fessler, millions of American homes in foreclosure. Robo-signers approving documents without proper review. Judges rubber-stamping foreclosures left and right. And with missing or incomplete paperwork, the validity of many of these foreclosures are now in question. As a matter of fact, you guys don't even know who owns the title on many of these properties.
Is there a question in there somewhere?
Mr. Fessler, if you feel there are any details I'm missing, you should feel free to speak up.
Thank you.
Now, these home loans were first placed into tax-exempt real estate trusts, is that right?
Yes.
And all these loans were then split up into securities, which were given a AAA rating and sold off to various investors.
Yes.
And a AAA rating meaning little to no risk.
Basically, yes.
So, what happened? Mr. Fessler, do you mind answering my question?
Of course I'll answer your question. But you have to ask me nicely.
I beg your pardon?
You have to ask me nicely. You see, Mr. Black, I don't mind coming on your Black News Network, and I don't mind answering your questions. But what I do want is for you to sit there in that cheap suit and with that Oxford mouth, extend me some frickin' courtesy. You gotta ask me nicely.
First of all, this is not some cheap suit. It's vintage FUBU. Yeah, boy! And as for the Oxford thing, I'll take it. But you know what I'd really like? Mr. Fessler, if it's not too much trouble, I'd like you to answer the question. Sir.
Absolutely. What happened is deadbeat borrowers didn't pay their mortgage payments, and the whole thing went ass up.
Ass up? By ass up, you mean many of these home loans went into default when deadbeat borrowers, as you call them, couldn't make their payments.
Couldn't, wouldn't, whatever. These homeowner hopefuls bit off more than they could chew by taking out these huge loans. They didn't want a house. They wanted a mansion. I knew a good deal of these loans were in danger of going into default.
Grave danger?
Is there another kind?
The banks were bailed out by the federal government, which is to say they were bailed out by the American taxpayers. How about returning the favor and bailing out the American taxpayers by returning their homes?
Are you serious?
Can a brother get his house back? Can a brother get his house back?
Are you being funny?
I guess not.
Well, I don't deal in guesses, Mr. Black. I deal in facts. And the fact is, if you don't pay your mortgage payment, you don't get to keep your house. It's that simple. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Are we clear?
Crystal. Mr. Fessler, I've just one more question before I let you go. If you knew a good deal of these loans were in danger of going into default, then how could they qualify to be pooled into securities with a AAA rating?
Some of the loans were questionable.
No, that's not what you said. You said these loans were in danger of going into default. I said grave danger. You said, is there any other kind?
I recall what I said.
If you like, we can play the tape back for you.
I know what I said.
Then why the discrepancy? Mr. Fessler, how could these at-risk loans be sold off with a AAA rating? You ordered these loans to be placed into AAA rated securities regardless of risk. And when everything went ass up, you cut homeowners loose and you accelerated the foreclosure process to cover it all up. Didn't you?
You want answers?
I think the American people are entitled to them.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth! Son, We live in a world that runs on money. And that money has to be invested by men with financial skills. Who's going to do it? You, Mr. Black? You weep for the homeowners that can't pay their mortgages, and you curse the banks. You don't want answers. Because deep down in the places you don't talk about things, at your house parties and your backyard barbecues, you want me investing your money. You need me investing your money. We use words like trust, bond, security. We use these words as a backbone of a life spent investing in something. You use them as a punchline. I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a Wall Street Journal and read a stock report. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think the American people are entitled to.
Did you order these at-risk loans placed into AAA-rated securities?
I did the job I was meant to do.
Did you give the order?
You're goddamn right I did!
The people have rights, and one of them is the pursuit of happiness, achieving the American dream. And for many people, that means owning your own home. The American people bailed you out, and yet many of those same people are walking around today feeling humiliated because they lost their homes. Mr. Fessa, you committed fraud. You committed fraud against the American people, and I hope you spent a day in prison for every single home you foreclosed upon. You smug son of a bitch!
What? I'll rip the eyes out of your head, and I'll piss into your dead skull! You messed with the wrong banker, Mr. Black Mother...
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm Black, James Black, and this is BNN, Black News Network.
This is BNN.